Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 best farming heroes in all of Dota. Specifically, I'm going to be focusing on pub matches, like pub ranked matchmaking rather than pro heroes, because I want this video really to apply to the average player. I really want to have you guys, if you're looking for a greedy safe lane hero, to be able to look at these heroes and say, okay, this is what I should pick if I'm really trying to take a lot of space and maximize the amount of farm I'm going to take. These heroes in general, if you are the average player. Now, I know you guys, I understand you guys are the greatest players of all time. You never make any mistakes and you deserve to be much higher MMR than you currently are. I get it. I get it. Outside of that though, this video is going to help you become a much better farming player. And so let's talk about the top 10 farming heroes in Dota. And now I want to tell you guys a little bit about Dota Plus from Overwolf. This is a free stats app you guys can download right now that's going to show you your stats for the last 3 months. So if you want to know your games played, your MMR, your win rate, your XPM, your GPM, all of these things you need to track to know how well you're doing and what you need to change to gain MMR, you can get for absolutely free. On top of that, the biggest reason why you need to download Dota Plus, at least for me, is the ban suggestions. Basically, it tells you what the enemy team is good at. It tells you their best heroes, what they've been winning with. You just ban it. You might be wondering why your good heroes, why your best heroes keep getting banned. It's because of Dota Plus. The enemy team is using it and banning out your best heroes. So go download Dota Plus right now, and I'll see you guys there. I'd like to start off with an honorable mention, okay? So I guess technically 11 heroes, and that is Nature's Prophet. So on Dota Buff, for Herald, Guardian, and Crusader, Nature's Prophet's last hits are the 11th highest on average at minute 30. Which is insane to me, because this hero literally is one of the best farming heroes in the game. It is one of the fastest farming heroes in the game. Your ultimate literally racks up free last hits, and you can teleport to any creep waves. And the reason why I really wanted to say something, it almost makes me angry. Like I'm a little bit annoyed at the fact that this hero has such a low win rate. Its win rate is so awful in average pubs. And honestly, now that I see this stat, that the hero has the 11th highest CS, when it is one of the fastest farming heroes in the game, for a little bit of perspective, in Divine and Immortal games, and even when I coach Divine players, I think they over-rotate on Nature's Prophet, but I think they over-rotate on most heroes. Either way, in Immortal and Divine games, it is not the 11th, it is the 6th highest lasted hero. You see how much of a jump that is? See how much of an increase? Because people understand as the better and better they get at this hero that you have to farm more to enable this hero to hit its true proper timings, whether or not that's Gleipnir, Ags, whatever it is, Orchid, whatever you're going. So please, I'm not going to harp that much on every single hero. I just want to mostly focus on having like a clear list for you guys. But this one, it just, I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, damn, no wonder why this hero's win rate is so much lower than I feel like it should be, because it's a pretty good hero. All right, getting into the 10th best hero for farming, we have Luna. Now, honestly, I'm even a little bit surprised to hear this, and I think the main reason people have really mediocre last hits on Luna, because realistically, I actually think Luna could be higher on the list if the hero was a bit better at not getting ganked. And the thing is, here's how I see it. In Divine and Immortal games, what's interesting is Luna gets ganked a lot in the jungle because the hero is just like, it has no real mobility, right? It's not a jug, it's not tanky like Medusa, right? It's not like it has song like Naga or something like that, right? It kind of just dies, and so it gets ganked a lot, causing it to have lower CS. But in your average game, and because I really thought that this hero would be higher when I first started making this video, I thought this hero would be higher because Glaives and Lunar Blessing are some of the best farming abilities in the game, right? You just shred through neutral camps, especially if you go Mask of Madness. But I think what happens to a lot of players in your average pubs is they get stuck in the laning stage. And I will admit, I think that's a big reason some of the heroes we're going to talk about today actually have higher average last hits than other heroes. For instance, something like Templar Assassin is actually number 14 on the list for average last hits at minute 30, which is crazy because this hero is way better at, in my opinion, than a hero like Juggernaut, who is much higher on this list. And so yeah, it's pretty crazy, but Luna comes in at number 10 on this list, definitely has a little bit of a problem at staying alive, but if you're looking for a hero that just wipes through the jungle, go Mask of Madness and leave the lane once you hit level 6, level 7. Once you have Treads and Morbid Mask, even when you only have treads, you can full-time jungle on this hero. Just move out and start shredding the camps. A lot of people make the mistake of going the wrong direction and fighting in the lane too long. You don't have good scaling abilities. You only can fight back if you max your Q, and if you max your Q, your Lucent Beam, and then take Eclipse at level 6, you farm terribly. Then your hero is like a mediocre fighter and a mediocre farmer. It's like, why didn't you just pick a different hero? You know what I mean? It just doesn't do anything that good. And so yeah, please hit more jungle creeps. For Alchemist, he comes in at number 9. Alchemist is definitely a hero I actually thought would be lower on the list, and in Divided Immortal games, he is. And the reason why is hero can get shut down in the laning stage and isn't necessarily good at farming a lot of creeps. He's good at making the most of those creeps, right? However, if you are looking for a hero to just farm like crazy, Alchemist is definitely a good option, because at the end of the day, Alchemist does have Acid Spray and rushes Radiance. When you put these two things together, you can drag camps together and wipe them out like crazy. Then coming in at number 8, we have Clinks. Clinks is actually one of my favorite pub heroes in all of Dota. Anytime I'm recommending carries to my students, I always keep in mind Clinks, even though I would typically not actually recommend this hero to Divine and Immortal players, unless like I saw more of a specific game where I thought Clinks was good, where the enemy had a weak off lane that couldn't punish him early on. Because I personally feel that Clinks' big issue is his early laning stage. Yes, Searing Arrows, if the enemy doesn't pressure you, is an insanely good ability. If the enemy is just letting you beat them up and never goes on you, Clinks is like a menace to society. But if that's not the case and they are actually going on you, Clinks can get bullied out of the lane. However, he tends to be one of the better farmers in Dota, and I think there's a couple reasons to this and reasons why I would recommend picking the hero. Number 1, you can cast your invisibility spell, Skeleton Walk, while casting Burning Barrage. Burning Barrage is the ability where Clinks lets go a barrage of, well, a barrage of arrows and does damage to everything in front of him. And what's really cool is you can invis up to a creep wave. The duration is longer than the cooldown, so by the time you get to the creep wave, your invis is back up, but you're still invisible. So you can come out of invis, nuke the creep wave, and then go back invisible. So no matter how bad the game gets, no matter how terrible your teammates are feeding, you can still get some farm. And in free farm games, this hero is extremely good at taking stacks. Once you hit your Maelstrom timing and you hit level 6, this hero actually farms crazy fast. All you have to do is learn how to drag camps together effectively for Burning Barrage to line up and wipe out 2 camps at once, and Clinks will feel like a great farming hero. Then we have Morphling, who is actually not a hero that's typically known for his ability to like flash farm per se. Morphling tends to get a lot of last hits because of the fact that he can't get ganked in a lot of matches. And I think that stands true even in your average pub. Morphling is one of those heroes where no, you're not like a Naga Siren where you're just gonna clear up every camp, and even you're not like Luna, right? However, he has more average last hits than Luna by 1, to be fair. By 1. But he has slightly more and is technically a slightly better farmer than Luna on average. And the reason why is because he just stays alive. A big trend I noticed, and I know I'm repeating this, but it's a big deal for me. Anytime I'm coaching players around this 1 to 3k MMR bracket, 1 to 4k MMR bracket, one of my biggest gripes is they just stay in the lane for too long. Now for Morphling, because they do it on any hero, they do it on Drow, they'll do it on Medusa, they'll do it on Naga, and some games it's okay because maybe like they just don't have an answer for your hero. It's like some really specific game where, I don't know, Medusa crushes the lane against the Sand King, and then the Sand King just doesn't threaten you, and maybe that's true. But even then, you should probably go to the jungle to give your position 5 some space, unless you threaten a kill on the Sand King, in which case you should stay. But for Morphling, this hero actually is known for its ability to dead lane the safe lane. It's extraordinarily hard to gank unless you have like instant stuns or instant silences on your team, which a lot of teams and pubs will just straight up lack. You typically need 2 heroes to kill Morphling. Most Dota heroes cannot solo kill Morphling. And as a result, the hero can sit in its lane, farm the area for an extraordinarily long period of time, sometimes 12 to 15 minutes. It can farm the safe lane and the 2 nearby camps, maybe 1 off of that, and just get big out of the laning stage. And yes, if the lane does get really hard, maybe you got crushed by a Furion in lane, then in that case, you can move to the triangle with your Morbid Mask, and farm like a madman. Next up is Juggernaut, and I will be a little bit honest, I don't think this hero deserves to be this high, just because Juggernaut doesn't really have an insane farming ability. Right, compared to Luna? Like, a Nature's Prophet? Are you kidding me? But it kind of comes down to the same reason that Morphling has really high last hits. And that's why if you're trying to become a carry player that gets really vertically farmed, I do actually recommend Juggernaut to some extent. And that's because he's kind of an easier hero to play. On the same vein of Morphling, he doesn't die very easily. Most heroes cannot solo kill Juggernaut, where a lot of heroes, if Clinks for instance is not level 6, even if he is, can solo kill the Clinks due to his low HP pool. This just isn't the case for Jug due to Blade Fury. And so if you're looking for a hero that really can take up all the space, who can push out those side lanes really deep, and not actually get punished for a little bit of bad positioning. Now, once again, I understand you guys are the best players in the world. You're never out of position. You never push in lanes too far. You never take any sort of unnecessary risk, I understand. But for the people who do, I know it's not you, but for the people who do, yeah, Juggernaut is just a good option. I have a coaching student who spams quite a bit of Juggernaut, and he's extremely good at taking the dangerous farm, and that's really a big deal. If you can learn how to take the dangerous farm on Juggernaut, not only do you open up a lot of farm for yourself, you open up a lot of farm for your team, because instead of just having to farm the triangle defensively like something like Drow Ranger would, Juggernaut can instead take dangerous lane farm that the average Dota hero could not, and really just create a lot of farm, as I said, for himself and give more to his team. Then we have Sven. Sven is very straightforward. You just cleave all the camps. As long as you spam God Strength off cooldown, Sven is one of the fastest farming heroes in Dota. And it really blows my mind sometimes when players don't spam God Strength on Sven. So much so to the point where I just feel like they don't even think the ability is a farming ability at all. I would like to give an interesting perspective though, or an interesting insight, that this hero has an average of 194 last hits from Herald to Crusader, and actually has an average of 231 last hits in Divine to Immortal. And this stat is really significant to me, and it just will show, guys, there is a very clear gap between bracket to bracket, because the average Immortal player has 40 more last hits. 40, guys. They have 40 more last hits on average. And on top of that, you have to keep in mind the laning stage is harder. They're getting their last hits pressured way more. There's a lot more pressure because they get contested more, and people will contest denies more, and people will smoke it, gank them in jungle more. And I know you're gonna say, but Speed, in my Crusader bracket, you don't understand. You don't understand. I'm getting smoke ganked 14 times a game. They blocked all my camps with sentry wards. I can't hit a single creep. There's nothing I can do. Of course, Immortal players are gonna be, have better last hits than me, because their supports stack all the camps for them and blah, 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 blah. All right, you just need to get better. All right, I know this is not a tip video, but I just wanted to say it. Okay, moving on. Yeah, Sven kills all the jungle camps, use your God Strength. Then we have Medusa. Frankly, this one's very straightforward. The hero is actually a quite good laner. It isn't very easy to gank. Split Shot kills a lot of neutral camps. Definitely one of the best range heroes in the game when it comes to soaking up the farm. Then we actually have our first illusion hero, and it makes sense that Terrorblade is on this list, coming in at number 3. Terrorblade, definitely a menace to society when it comes to the creeps. And really what's great about Terrorblade is he's kind of a balance between Juggernaut and Luna. Similar to how Juggernaut can take the dangerous farm safely, Terrorblade can do the exact same thing, because his illusions enable him to push out dangerous side lanes and take the dangerous farm, similar to a hero like Juggernaut, but he can also farm the jungle at the same time, and that's simply gonna make you have more last hits, right? It is what it is. You're just going to have more last hits because you can farm 2 areas at the same time. On top of that, Terrorblade has some of the highest agi gain in the game. Metamorphosis is also a very good ability for taking Ancients early on into the game. And so yeah, Terrorblade just has some of the highest last hits early on. He also tends to have some of the highest last hits at minute 10, which I thought was a pretty cool stat. And I think that's because Metamorphosis just is very easy to last hit with, and he's actually very good in the laning stage. Unless you're against like really high nuke damage lanes, then he can struggle a bit. But yeah, Terrorblade, definitely a great one. If you're looking to learn an illusion hero, I will admit, I think Terrorblade maybe is the hardest one. Even though he has less illusions, you have to micro them very carefully because you only get one every so often. Where with Naga, you get a ton of them constantly. So you have to be a bit more like weary essentially about your illusion usage, and you have to truly put them in the right places to get the most value. Then number 2 on the list, which I personally think is a little criminal. And honestly, what's really mind-blowing to me is this hero is number 3 in Divine and Immortal, but in Herald the Crusader, it's Anti-Mage. Now, I know it probably doesn't sound that crazy to you. I just feel like every time I have an Anti-Mage on my team, I don't know, they do nothing. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But 226 CS at minute 30 on average, pretty freaking crazy. But yeah, Blink plus Battle Fury. I think the big thing as well is this hero kind of has this like label above his head of I have to farm. You know what I mean? It's kind of like over years and years and years of AM just being a constant Battle Fury carry. Everyone who ever picks AM knows I need to farm Manta. You know what I mean? Like, I need to get my Battle Fury and then blink to camp to camp to camp to camp. And it's really satisfying as well because, like, Mana Burn has this really nice noise when you hit things. So that's also probably baits people to farm because it sounds nice. Now, getting into the literal best hero for farming, no shock to me at all, is Naga Siren. And this is crazy, all right? You want to hear something that truly proves that Herald players, Guardian players, Crusader players, Archon players suck when it comes to last hitting with Naga and playing Naga, okay? I know you don't want to hear it. I know maybe you're a little bit mad that I say that, but the average last hits at minute 30 for Naga Siren is 248. In Divine and Immortal, it is 80 higher. It is 322. It is literally 322. Okay, it is literally 322. They have 80 more last hits than you. Like, are you kidding me, guys? You cannot tell me you think you're good at farming when their average is 80 higher. Whew, man, damn. But either way, Naga Siren, if you're looking for a hero that just eats the map, if you actually, I've coached multiple players. I've said this to multiple players. If you learn how to truly farm on Naga, the amount of camps and creeps you can kill every minute is disgusting. There is not a single hero that comes close to the potential of Naga. I frankly think that Naga in her current state might even be like one of the most broken heroes in Dota if truly understood, if properly understood. We kind of saw that from Skeeter at the most recent TI and even during the DPC season. This hero, when played properly, when given the right space, is ridiculous. Now, of course, its abilities don't necessarily make it like the best team fighter per se, and that's like the drawback of Naga. It's an insane farmer, but it's like its abilities don't necessarily make it scale the best because Riptide is a flat damage spell, right? But yeah, either way, that's going to be the top 10 heroes for farming. If you want me to cover different categories, I'm happy to do it. I just found this really cool set of statistics on Dota Buff, so shout out to Dota Buff for these statistics. But if you want me to talk about warding, damage, golden experience, deaths, assists, kills, overall game impact, pick and win rates, anything, all of these stats, they're really awesome stats, and I think it's cool that I can give a bit of info on each of the heroes, kind of talk about why I think these stats are the way they are. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. I'll make more like it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. And that's all, but remember, before you leave, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.